Hey everyone, how's it going? Stan here, and today I'm bringing you guys a little bit of a gameplay commentary, and we're going to be talking about H1Z1. I guess I've been doing a lot of these type of commentaries recently, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm here. I guess finally, H1Z1 for console dropped. It's been out for about 2 weeks now, I think. It came out on the 22nd of May, and it is the 29th, so no, not quite 2 weeks, but it's on its way. And so far, this is actually a highlight off my stream. This is one of those games. This is my first win actually in the game, so yeah. It's not exactly a very high kill gameplay, but it was decent. It was fun, and for me, it reminded me of why I enjoyed, or why I'm excited for Black Ops 3 Battle Royale. But we'll get into that later in the video. First things first, I want to talk about some things about the game that sort of hurt the game. I like to usually talk about the bad, then talk about why I play this game. So obviously why I think that this game could potentially die out very quickly is, first of all, the gameplay. It doesn't play out like Fortnite where it's very colorful and when you hop in you're gonna jump into someone right away. Now, I played a decent amount of games, and if I would say, out of the 10 games that I drop in, I don't really run into people like right away. You're not like scrambling for guns and dueling with someone. Now if you tail someone, then yeah, but if you just land anywhere, you see a building, you just land down, you're not gonna quickly run into anyone. And so, I mean, again, this is just like something that I personally have noticed, and so maybe when more games come along, I will run into more and more people, but as of the way I'm playing right now, it doesn't quite seem like it's that way. So it just kind of feels a little bit empty, but it doesn't quite hurt the game as much as you would think. But those are some of the things that you noticed. You definitely won't start off with, it's like Fortnite where you start off in a gunfire fight in tilted towers, Also, not landing directly from a plane just feels a little awkward. After being so used to playing Fortnite, you kind of just choose when you want to land, where you want to land, whereas in this game you kind of just tossed in somewhere. So it's kind of weird. I know on the PC version you're actually able to pick out where you want to drop, but unfortunately for this I haven't quite figured that out yet. So just something to keep in mind when playing this game. Next thing is, this game, if you're playing on base PS4, whether play PlayStation 4 Slim or OG PlayStation 4, this game does run pretty smoothly. It fluctuates generally, I think, between like 30 to 60 frames per second, although majority of the time when you're just out here searching for items and stuff, driving around, you're gonna stick at a pretty stable 60 frames. And then as far as what as far as gunfights go, or once it nears the end, and once the game starts to near that, I can't talk right now. Once the game starts to reach its end, when the cars are just driving past each other, gunshots are everywhere, and the fog's rolling in, all 16, and this is one of the positive things I think, but at the same time it's a double-edged sword. I'll get into that later. But once like the 16-ish people are started driving around the circle, the frame rate does drop a little bit, and from the PS4 gameplay, the frames are much better on the PS4. It's almost as if it's a very steady 60 frames. Now it does still have frame drops, but it's not as bad as the PS4. Now, when I say frame drops on PS4, I don't mean like, oh, this is impossible to play, it's unbearable. No, you're still just very much fine, and I would definitely say it's much better than what PUBG had. So, if you guys had any reminiscence of what PUBG launched on Xbox One, it is nothing like that. This is 10 times better than how the PUBG launched. And so this is very enjoyable. For those that really enjoyed PUBG, you're gonna like this game. And personally, I haven't had a lot of time to play with friends. I played with my brother a couple times in duos, and he Sorry, I'm recording this really late, but I wanted to get this video out. But he essentially played this game, and he has a hard time aiming because he's playing on a big ass TV right now. In Taiwan, my brother's just on vacation, summer vacation for him, so I can't really blame him for that. However, I will say though, this game does have the aiming mechanics is very, very clunky. It just like, and this is why it makes me a little bit excited for Black Ops 4, or look forward to Black Ops 4. I know Black Ops 4 will be in first person, which is something that I really, really like. When you aim down your sights in this game, it goes first person, and I think that's very enjoyable. And I think it's very fair. Like my gun, there's not a random spread that Fortnite has, and so for me it's enjoyable. But then at the same time, when you're shooting your guns, it's definitely not going to feel like Call of Duty. It's not going to have that fluid feeling where you can just aim or track someone. Instead, you're going to kind of have to play like Battlefield on console, where you're going to have to flick your shots. I'm not very good at tracking on Battlefield. Now, keep in mind, I only played Battlefield 4 on PS3. I played a decent amount of Battlefield 1 on PS4, but I think I got to like level maybe 30 or something, or maybe not, before quitting, because I don't know, the game just feels like not as fluid as Call of Duty. Of course, longtime Battlefield veterans would definitely have differing opinions to me, but to me, I definitely much prefer the gunplay of Call of Duty above Battlefield. But if you guys are expecting that fluidity from Call of Duty, it's just not there. It definitely is much, much more relatable to Battlefield. It's not like a horrible, or Battlefield's not a horrible clunky, but this game it's wonky with its aiming. It definitely could improve. And so for people who are used to that type of aiming, I don't know, it's something that you have to be really aware of. Just something that you have to understand and kind of get used to. At the end of the day, you're gonna kind of want to keep your crosshairs on him and then aim down your sights whenever you need to. So also, when you jump around in this game, it really, really throws off your opponents. You're gonna realize that people in this game kind of have a hard time aiming, and so don't feel too bad when you feel like the aim is fucking clunky as fuck, because it is. And so it's not really your fault, but it's just what the game does to you. So something that I think they could definitely work on. I feel like this is definitely something that is built for mouse and keyboard, and they haven't quite done a good job at implementing it into like analog sticks. So that's definitely something they can improve on. I think my next thing would be that colors and the way the game looks. Now, I don't know if they're going to change it much more than that, because this is the classic H1Z1 look, and so asking them to change it would be like changing the foundations of like Fortnite, so I don't think it's something that they'll change. However, it's just to say that, once again, sorry, I'm really tired. Like, the problem is that it definitely is not as enticing to look at as, say, something like Fortnite. And Fortnite runs at a very steady 60. Like, I still do get stutters, I still do get freezes, even on PlayStation 4. But I don't think it fluctuates as poorly as this game does. Now, that's not to say this game fluctuates insanely, or to the point where it's just unplayable or even bothers you, but it definitely is there. But I don't think it takes away from the gameplay experience, just letting you guys know. And then I think the last part of this game that it sort of frustrates me a little bit, I don't think it'll kill the game. Now, pretty much everything that I think would turn away new time players would be the gun mechanics, just the way people aim and such, the way people or the way, like, mechanically, like, how different the game is. And look at this guy doing donuts. I should have just shot him. But I mean, so basically, like, besides the gunplay, and just like the way the game looks, and I guess you could say the pacing of the game, and potentially frame rate, I think these are all the issues that could potentially turn someone away from H1Z1. However, you take that out. And obviously it is still on launch, and it just barely launched, so of course it's going to have issues. Unfortunately, actually, it's still going to have issues. So obviously loading screens actually at the end of this game, I do ended up cutting it off, but it actually ended up just taking me into an infinite loading screen loop, and so I had to exit the game, restart. There are times where I would have my brother in the duo, and then for some reason he would refuse to load into the game with me, and so we would have to close our application and try again. It's not, it doesn't happen super often, but it does exist. This game's not perfect. It definitely did not launch perfectly, but it is definitely much more playable than, say, something like PUBG on the Xbox One. So definitely props to them for that. This is definitely something that's playable, and this is something that you can still enjoy. It definitely is something that you can still have fun. There's nothing that is game breaking, but there are things that may not suit a die-hard Fortnite player's taste, and to them, I don't blame you. I mean, this and Fortnite, the two games feel very different, although their idea is generally the same. Now, besides those things mentioned above, why do I still enjoy the game so much? Well, first of all, I enjoy gunplay. Now, I did mention, obviously, I did say that, I think that this like gunplay stuff, like the gun with like the way you aim, you shoot and stuff, just feel wonky. It feels clunky, it feels slow, and it doesn't feel fluid. That is true. However, I'm still able to maintain a really solid aim simply because, I mean, I've been pretty blessed, I don't know, blessed, but I guess I'm just very used to playing on console, and so I already understand like how to adjust to most console shooters. And so although this one was probably not on the top of my list as far as how fluid a console shooter is, I still am able to adjust pretty decently, and so it doesn't bother me that much. But I could definitely see how it could bother someone who doesn't play console as much, and who isn't as well versed with a controller, I guess you could say. But either way though, that's still, for me, I still enjoy like just being able to aim down my sights. I think that's just very enticing for me. It's like I said, I don't have that random Fortnite spread that when you shoot your gun suddenly it's sort of random, and you just kind of gotta keep them in your crosshairs and hope that your bullets within the crosshairs hit them. So it's a little unfortunate that Fortnite has done that. I would have preferred if they did something with the aiming mechanics. What else? Oh, obviously right there, obviously my aim isn't too horrible there, but I mean, it definitely isn't easy to hit someone. It feels just very clunky. But obviously I've beaten that to a dead horse. Next thing I guess I want to talk about is vehicles. This is a double-edged sword. What you're going to soon realize is, obviously I haven't played enough of duos and squads to really see how it plays out in like these game modes, but as far as the couple times that I played duos and the many times that I played solo, what ends up happening is that the last 15, 16 people, or maybe even 20 people, like, all start driving into the circle to avoid the gas, but everyone's in their cars driving around till someone commits, and then it's either the guy who commits to get out of his car really hurts someone inside his car and then causing him some issues, or I thought I was gonna die here. I don't know what exactly hit me, but I got really lucky. This right here is a huge outplay. But anyway, so I was saying, also it's cool that you can hear footsteps and stuff, and you could oh, my reaction was pretty priceless. But obviously moments like those shouldn't happen. I think that was, this poor guy, he just couldn't hit me. And so like moments like those makes me really happy. I don't get one pump to the face, although I have been one pump before by, I think, the combat shotgun or the riot shotgun, but I was already hurt health wise, but I just had full armor. So like, I don't know, it feels like every time I die it's generally pretty fair. I don't feel like I'm ever robbed of anything. So that's another thing as well. But anyways, so I was talking about vehicles. Sorry, once again, I am ranting, but it's how I like to do my commentaries. But as far as vehicles go, it's like I said, you run into like 20 people left, and people just drive around their cars till someone shoots, either kills someone driving, or the driver just, or some other dude gets out of the car to challenge him. You know, it never really ends up to be a bunch of cars, everyone just like on the ground, like boots on the ground, and just start shooting at each other, trying to get high positioning and stuff. It's really just driving around your cars, and then till you find a rock, and then you might be post up next to it with your car and use your car as cover to shoot at people, and then start moving again. You know, that's really how the end of the game goes. And to me, I wish it wasn't that way. I do enjoy vehicles to like traverse the map, and due to the fact that the aiming mechanic is kind of shit. It's very hard to hit people in cars, and so see this is what I mean. Like, we have 8 people left, and people are just kind of in their car. Now this game is not that bad. This is actually really dangerous. I definitely probably should have tried to stay in my car a little more. And I don't know why I decided. Oh, I decided to heal there just to get a healing mechanic going beforehand. And this gun has no recoil. Holy shit. The C&Q 08, I think that's what it's called. But vehicles also have health, and you can blow them up if you want. But as far as I'm concerned, you generally want to stay in the vehicle and just head glitch on it whenever you can. That's generally how you win the end game. But yeah, so you know, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about just like, I guess, camping out my vehicle until I guess I'm happy, to say the least. Oh, I almost died there. But also, one thing that you also have to know too is that vehicles in the game, you can run over people and you can't kill them. That is a thing. So, but there seems to be a little bit of lag in the case that you kind of have to, if they're running to the right, you might have to drive a little bit ahead of them, and then the server will kind of pick up on them. So just a couple server lag issues and stuff, nothing too major. But I mean, yeah, I generally don't try to run people over, because if I miss suddenly, you know, they're gonna fucking light me up, you know. So just something to be aware of. As far as controls goes, I love the fact that they let me use my right analog stick as the jump button. It's almost like stick and move is like the way I like to play in Call of Duty, and so giving me that option is really nice. What else should I mention about this game? It's like I said, if you enjoy PUBG, you're gonna like this game, and if you enjoy Battle Royale, this is something that's worth your time. I think this is something for me that I really enjoy, and it's something that I could enjoy on my own. And so for some that might not mean anything, but for me it's like what I said in my Fortnite video. You know, if I don't have to have people to play with to have fun, it is a game that I truly genuinely enjoy. Now of course, would I have enjoyed to have people to play with on this? Of course, yeah. But I could definitely see how someone who enjoys like Fortnite, or people who enjoy a more fluid experience, could really like, or really have this game like rub them the wrong way. And so, you know, I could see this game just not enticing to everyone. They definitely just make their shooter mechanics more fluid, and then maybe tune down the vehicle play in the end of the game, and instead of it being like a car warfare, sort of just be like a, you know, more positioning into be factored into it, you know. That would be nice. And then servers hopefully would be better, because oftentimes you just load into the game with about, I've loaded into games where there's only 60 players to start, and to me that's kind of sad, because I prefer, you know, I want to have the biggest lobby possible, to have the most players possible, and it's unfortunate that the servers right now seem to be too clunky for that. And so, and right here, what you're gonna see is just me driving. Like literally, everybody's just camping in their cars to the point where you just drive into the center, and then you just wait till the circle gets so small to the point where someone has to commit, or someone decides to commit, and then at that point, people get out of the cars and then see who emerges victorious. I don't really know how I feel about that yet. I mean, I got the better end of the stick here, so you know, I guess I'm not complaining. But I could definitely see how this could turn away some players who enjoy maybe building, or just getting like dueling someone on the boots on the ground style, you know. So Also, I guess another positive factor too that might uh, make PUBG players a little bit more happy is that I know PUBG is pretty slow. It's definitely is not as fast as Fortnite. It's nowhere near as fast as Fortnite, and the PUBG maps are huge. And then they obviously have vehicles too, but I feel it's definitely easier to knock people out of their vehicles. But then again, I've only played the mobile version, so I can't really say too much. But it definitely feels slower. But then as far as what's it called? The speed of this game though, I think it's pretty decently quick. I don't think it's, like I said, it's as fast as Fortnite, but the reason why I think it's able to compete with like Fortnite is because the gas actually adapts to how many players are left on the field, meaning that it will pressure the game to go faster and faster, and it's not based upon like just set circles that the game has preset. In fact, it's set on just how many players are left, and then the storm, or I guess the toxic gas, will adjust accordingly. It won't just what the fuck, he phased right through my car. But see right here, I got really lucky. He knocked him out, and then for some reason he decides to get into the car, and then I don't get run over, which makes it allows me to be pretty lucky. But right there, I pick up the kill, easy claps. But yeah, the pacing of the game is pretty quick. Overall, I think if you're just here to just check out other battle royale games, give this game a go on PS4. I think this is probably the more enjoyable rendition above the PC version. So PC Master Race people don't hate me, but I think it's very fun. It's enjoyable, and this is a good console port of a PC game. And so this is definitely something that I could play over Fortnite, but with these issues in game, I think developers have to be really careful. But on that note, I have high hopes for this game, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed the gameplay. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys the next time. Peace out.
Yep.